Nope, not going to sing it. Nope. I started, but nope, not going to do it. Hello there, CriterioNate here. Number 370. Well, part 3 of the 369 Paul Robeson tribute portraits of an artist. Number 372, Paul Robeson Pioneer, featuring the movies Zoltan Korda's Sanders of the River, and Thornton Freeland's Jericho. This time around, we're focusing on his British films, or at least two. This particular one features 2 British films. I think by this point, Paul Robeson had kind of established residence in Britain, in Europe, and he was making his name known as a British or European movie star, even though he's from America and all that. However, these particular, well, at least the first movie in here, this is a mixed bag, and I'm wondering about and it's interesting the particular way they're doing these. Seems like the first one, in the first two, the first movie wasn't that great. It wasn't as good as the second one, at least. In this particular one, same thing. Sanders of the River is embarrassing. Is very, very difficult to watch for a number of reasons. The obvious being that Robeson plays a tribal chief that is, helps save the British rule or something, But anyway, Sanders of the River, 1935, 87 minutes, black and white. So basically, I'm not going to summarize the whole plot. Basically, it is this, Robeson plays this tribal chief, Bosambo, I think is Bosambo, who's partnered with this, British man, Sanders, who's like the man who it's basically, it's hard to describe. Basically, it's about. It wasn't supposed to be. Apparently, the movie wasn't supposed to be about British rule or colonialism, and that's why Paul Robeson agreed to do it, because he really wanted to portray a chief of an African tribe. However, I guess toward the end, at the last minute, they changed the movie to so that that the white man is the savior of the black man and all that, and changed the whole rule. Added new intertitles that kind of changed the meaning of the movie. And Robeson by that time obviously had shot most of the movie, and he was under contract, and so he did it, but he ended up disowning the movie, and at one point he ended up trying to buy all the copies of the movie, and so that he can own them and destroy them all, but to no avail. He didn't speak lightly of that movie. In fact, let me read you one of his quotes here. Let me pull up the Wikipedia page on Sanders of the River, because his words say it better than mine here, and I obviously have no interest in discussing the plot of the movie, because it is embarrassing, and it didn't do well. It didn't do too well anyway in the box office anyway, so it didn't help. So Robeson was furious and complained the imperialist plot had been placed in the plot during the last 5 days of shooting. I was roped into the picture because I wanted to portray the culture of the African people, and I committed a faux pas which convinced me that I had failed to weigh the problems of 150 million native Africans. I hate the picture. It's and in 1938, Robeson added despairingly, "It is the only film of mine that can be showed in Italy or Germany, for it shows the Negro as fascist states desire him, savage and childish." C-. I can't give it a great rating. I'm not going to give it low because Paul Robeson, at least fantastic singer, but it's not good. It's really difficult to watch, especially the scenes with the British actors, because they come off as very, snobby and all that. So, C-. I'm sorry, this one, it's bad. Jericho, on the other hand, is a whole nother situation. entirely. 1937, 75 minutes, black and white, or more normal, blah, blah, blah. By this point, Robeson realized that in order to make, he needed to gain more artistic control over the movies he was making. So in this one, he definitely had a lot. He sought to get a lot more control over his movies and all that. So for this one, Paul Robeson plays Jericho Jackson, who is Captain Jericho Jackson, who is a soldier in World War I, and there's this fight breaks out, I guess, and he ends up trying to save the people of his people in his command and all that, but he ends up killing one of the officers, and he flees. He ends up fleeing from the thing, and gosh, I'm trying to remember. I've got to look up the plot here. I honestly cannot remember for some reason. I mean, the plot is better. He ends up getting caught and tried and all that, court-martialed. But at one point he ends up escaping during a show, and the captain who was responsible for him is court-martialed and jailed. Jericho ends up running away with this other white man, and they go to this. They plot the course to North Africa, and they end up. Gosh, this is kind of tricky how to describe this. Jericho's a doctor, also, and he ends up healing a lot of the sick African people, and he's revered. He ends up leading this caravan through the Sahara, and at some point. But anyway, at some point, he becomes kind of a leader of the African people and all that. But anyway, later on in the movie, Captain Mac is released, and he goes to a movie, and during the newsreels, he sees Jericho leading the African people, and furious at wanting his revenge, he tries to get a plane down to where Jericho is living with his wife and his child, and wants to take him back and get him so that he could do his time and all that. However, after seeing his life together, with his family together, he ends up forgiving him and saying, I apologize, And so, anyway, but however, the next morning, Jericho has to help Mac escape because the other natives have found out and want him dead, and so Jericho helps him escape by helping him get back in his plane, helping him start the plane, letting him head out, and all that good stuff. And that's basically the end of the movie. Now, apparently, the original ending involved Jericho dying at the hands, while saving Mac. However, because it's this whole thing about the black man has to die in order to save the white man, is willing to die, or basically has to die to save the white man. However, Robeson said, no, I'm not doing that. Change the ending so that Captain Mac gets home okay and Jericho's free to live his life with his family. So, yeah. It's still, again, it's, Robeson has, again, some fantastic songs that he sings, and his role is so much more superior to the African American community than Sanders of the River. And again, I think his British films just got better from that point on because Robeson had more control over his roles and the way his roles evolved over time and all that stuff. So there. That's all I could say about Jericho. I give it an A. Way better movie. So that's it. So that's the movies. Sanders of the River, again, C- because it's Jericho, A, because it's yeah. The only other supplement is a short film, 33-minute documentary called True Pioneer, the British Films of Paul Robeson. It features a number of interviews with film historians as well as Paul Robeson Jr. talking about his time in Britain and the movies he made. Features a lot of clips from movies that I don't understand why they aren't in the collection, such as King Solomon's Mines and Song of Freedom. And then even one called Big Fella. And I don't understand why. I mean, it probably was a cost thing as to why they didn't include those movies into the set, but they could have. They honestly could have. I mean, here's where Criterion could put an expanded pack, on Blu-ray, but maybe someday. Anyway, so that's it for today. Thank you for watching. If you're a British filmmaker, don't make your films about British imperialism. And Jericho, don't make movies where the white man has to be saved by the black man's death. Don't do it. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching, and we will see you tomorrow for the final selection in our Paul Robeson set, Citizen of the World, featuring the Proud Valley and Native Land. And until then, goodbye.